this point, we're now being joined by Chief Olusegun Osoba, the former governor of Ogun State, for a review of his political party, the All Progressive Congress's position on a number of national issues, as was articulated at last week's extraordinary meeting of the party's Southwest Caucus. Before his foray into partisan politics, Chief Osoba had made a name as journalist, editor, and publisher. Good morning, sir, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Ruben. Thank you.
Good morning, sir. Well, once again, let me congratulate you on that historic event in Abeokuta yesterday, where the Olusegun Osoba Press Center was commissioned in your honor at the government secretariat at Okemoson. But quickly, let's start with politics.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Over the weekend, you were at the meeting of the APC Southwest leaders, where at the end of the day, a 9-point communique was issued. And this same week, the leaders of that meeting, Chief Bisi Akonde, your good self, and others, went to see the president. We'd like you to take us through the major issues, the major resolutions of that meeting, particularly with regard to the resolve of the APC leaders in the Southwest about unity of Nigeria, stability of Nigeria, sustainability of Nigeria. And then the meeting with the president, was it that you went there to present the communique to him, and what was his response, if that was the case?
Well, thank you very much. In the first place, it's only in Nigeria where elders and leaders of a political party meet the head of government, the president or the prime minister, and people, you come out and people want to know what you discuss with your president. I can say that we had a very deep, serious discussion with Mr. President. But as elders, we don't have to come out and start talking about what we discussed or what we didn't discuss, because we are leaders of the party, we are founders of the party, and we should be able to talk frankly, objectively with the president. Now, coming to the issue of the Southwest leadership, our position is this. At the time we were forming the APC, part of the agenda that we in Southwest insisted must be included in our manifesto was the devolution of power and true federalism. And we have produced an APC document. And that APC document covered all aspects of what the whole country is agitating for. The document included a recommendation for state police. It included fiscal federalism in terms of revenue allocation. It included issues of devolution of a lot of concentrated power at the center. That document, I think I will probably forward it to you. We are going to present it as party leaders to the Committee of the National Assembly that is coming to the Southwest next week. There is virtually everything that we have been agitating for in terms of genuine federalism, like the kind that we have in Canada. In Canada, Quebec is the only French-speaking out of the 8 provinces in Canada. Yet, the right of the people in Quebec is recognized. And the 2 languages, English and French, are the major languages in Canada. So these are the kind of thing that we are saying that we should have in Nigeria. Take, for example, people are talking about rotational presidency as if it's something that is anti-democracy, something unheard of. Switzerland, as old as Switzerland is, the presidency is rotated among the 7 provinces in Switzerland, as advanced as Switzerland is. So what is the big thing? So these are the issues that are contained in the resolution of APC document, which had gone through all the organs of the party, the National Working Committee, the APC caucus made up of we elders, and then the National Executive Council, the highest organ of the party. So our position is that all those that we negotiated when we were forming APC, which are all included in the APC document, will be presented to the National Assembly caucus, and they should start debate on it immediately.
Well, we certainly hope that they do, sir. I want to start by congratulating you on yesterday's honor. Last year, you had a train station named after you, so you're getting your flowers while you're here to enjoy them. It's a good thing to see. But I want to take you now to the statement.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. I want to take you now to the statement issued by the president via Malam Garba Shehu yesterday, which issued quite a stinging rebuke of the southern governors and their plans to ban open grazing. You are part of the APC leaders who sanctioned that ban on open grazing. There was a lot of resistance to it. Yesterday, Garba Shehu appeared here on Arise News to clarify, and we'll just take a moment to listen to what he had to say, sir.
The objective of the southern governors and the objective of the president are basically the same. The only difference is the approach. The president wants to see an end to open grazing. He wants to see ranching, but he wants it in a way that is organized. And he has a plan for it, and this plan will take off in June. All of these attacks that are coming, they are not coming, people just, I think, are in the mood to just exchange blows. When you read the statement, the president seeks to end the roaming of herders across the land. He wants them confined to specific places where their cattle will have the greens that they need, the fodder and the water. This is their basic need. And the president is saying, okay, this is the plan for states that are willing. People are talking about seizure of land. One particular governor is even warning, say, President, keep out of my state. Don't come here with this thing. What is all this about?
What are your thoughts on the presidency's position?
I must say that we, the elders of the party, are talking to ourselves already. A situation where we in the same government, in the same party, are singing discordant tunes is not helpful at all. We are not helping this country. We are one party. The governors are members of the APC. And you can see, even from, and Garba Shehu was former president of the Nigerian Guild of Fighters, a well-grounded professional. I will counsel that he has to come back to this profession and weigh his words and be careful in terms of his intervention. We are one government, but we are the one acting as opposition to ourselves. In the first place, federal government has not 1 inch of land in Nigeria other than the Federal Capital Territory. The Constitution vested by land use decree, the land use section of the Constitution in the governors. And the governors are saying we are in control of our area. They are elected. They must listen to the feeling of their people. And in a federation, what is good for us here cannot be good for people in the other area. Take, for example, even ordinary construction of houses. When you want to build a house in any part of the coastal Nigeria, you have to either do piling, You have to do solid foundation. In many parts of the northern parts of this country, you don't need any deep foundation. You can just start block work and construct a house. The same thing if you are doing road. We are different, and we must recognize our differences. I do not agree that we, the same government, should be talking to each other on the pages of this newspaper. I condemn that attitude.
So you condemn that attitude, but a lot of people are saying that what Garba Shehu said initially before he tried to douse tension yesterday was not different from what the Attorney General did say, who is still a member of this government. He went gong and he said it straight, that it's nonsensical what the governors were saying about open grazing, that open grazing was going to continue. He was even trying to tell us that there's a constitutional right for cattle in this country. I mean, by saying that Section 41 talks about movement, free movement, so invariably, cattle can move freely to every part of the country. Even went further to give an open slur against people from the eastern part of this country, comparing open grazing and sales of spare parts and things like that. And afterwards, then Garba Shehu releases this message. So a lot of people are saying, maybe that's the thinking of the government, because people are not sure of what the government is really saying. But Malami said this, Garba Shehu talked in that line, and all of a sudden, then there was a reaction by the likes of Akeredolu that lambasted him. Then he retracted yesterday. So people are saying this government actually in support of open grazing. What do you think, sir?
No, if you listen to Garba Shehu, he accepted that ranching is the solution to the tension that we have in the country. I haven't accepted that in his opening statement, which already is in line and in tune with what the southern governors resolved. To say that they did not give solution is wrong. Our governors briefed us and said that they are even consulting and discussing with their northern colleagues. And for goodness sake, the northern governor were the first to recommend ranching. I have been to some of the world largest producers of cattle. I was in Argentina. I didn't see a single head of cattle in the street of Argentina. In Africa, I've been to Kenya. And we went for a conference there. We were fed with meat almost every day. I didn't see a single cattle in the streets of Kenya. So I don't know where the problem is that Garba Shehu is talking about. The northern governor accepted. Even Kanu, our governor told us, was ready to donate large chunk of land for ranching in the north. And then when the cattle are ready, they are arranged transportation down to the south. This is why I'm saying that as a party, we elders have to sit down. When different statements coming from different people and we are contradicting ourselves, it doesn't give us as a party a good image.
Well, sir, we'll take a short break in a matter of seconds, but I would like to ask this question before we went on that break, which is the point you made earlier about the position of the APC, your party originally, about fiscal federalism, about true federalism, about restructuring, about state police, about devolution of powers. Now, the question that an ordinary Nigerian will ask is that, yes, that was some of the issues with which the APC engaged the Nigerian public as far back as 2014, 2015. Why is it that it's only now that any attempt is now being made from the southwest side to even take these issues to the public hearings being organized by the National Assembly? Why is it that the party didn't quite deliver on its own promises along those lines? But we need to take a short break, and then when we return, the conversation will continue with you. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the morning show here on the Arise News channel. Our guest is still Chief Olusegun Osoba, two-time governor of Ogun State, chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Nigeria's ruling party, author, editor, journalist, statesman. Chief Osoba, thank you very much for staying with us. Well, very quickly, I'd ask you a question about all the promises by the APC and why those promises, particularly with regard to restructuring, why no attempt has been made so far to address some of those issues. The APC even set up a committee chaired by the governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai. That El-Rufai committee submitted its report since 2018. And in 2018, the governor of Kaduna State was telling us that the APC government is committed to restructuring. Why is it taking the party such a long time?
Let me explain to you. When you're going to take a major step like devolution of power through federalism and restructuring, it's a process. The report of the APC, I can tell you, is an exhaustive report. It took time for them to go to all the 6 zones of this country. It's not something you do overnight. And it's not a document you produce by fiat. They did extensive consultation in all the 6 zones, and they analyzed, they were scientific, analytical. The responses they got from each of the zones to all the issues. You see, when you want to produce something that will be an all-embracing in a large country of multi-ethnic nation like Nigeria, you need to secure the opinion, the area favorable, the area that you can get consensus. It took a long time for that committee to work hard on it. And when the committee report was ready, it's not a report that you just throw to us. We have been in government. It took a long time when the report now got to us. It's a process that needed exhaustive discussion to arrive at consensus. I will agree with you that, yes, I said it before, some people delayed implementation of that report. That I will accept. But a restructuring is not something you can do overnight. Take, for example, the United Kingdom. As a young man, I thought UK was just one group. I didn't know that they were as tribalistic, even more tribalistic than we are. It took me, it was in my later day that I realized that the English people dominating the UK, that they are just a little tribe within the United Kingdom, that the Scots are totally different, the Welsh are totally different, the Irish are totally different, and each of them fighting for their own emancipation. Imagine how long the UK government from London, how long it has taken the English to start devolving power to each of these separate tribes in the United Kingdom. So it is not something you do overnight. Even those countries that have had to disengage peacefully, it took a long time for USSR to allow Georgia, Ukraine, to allow Azerbaijan, Armenia, all of them to go their separate ways. It took a long time for Czechoslovakia to discuss, to resolve, before the Slovak and the Czech went. So this thing, if you don't want it to become war, needs serious analysis and serious engagement to arrive at a consensus that will make us have this thing done in a way that will not create war in the country. For example, now, virtually the whole country has accepted state police because security, the way that we are handling it, if you are not careful, we are now going beyond Boko Haram. The Iswa people, the Islamic State for West Africa, who want to Islamize the whole of West Africa, are already infiltrating into Nigeria. We have to be very careful. We are talking of tribalism between Yoruba and the issue is going beyond that now. With Iswa coming, infiltrating our country, it's dangerous.
Yes, sir, it's incredibly dangerous. Even in England, there actually is a north-south divide with the perception, actually the reality, that the balance of economic and political power lies in the south of England and the north feel marginalized. But you mentioned earlier about different factions of the APC presenting contradictory views in the pages of newspapers. But is it actually possible to present a united front when one does not exist? It is clear that those who are benefiting from the currently, existing dysfunctional system are resisting any kind of change. Are we going to see meaningful restructuring before 2023?
There are no factions in APC. It is just, as I said, discordant voices coming from different people, and it's because pandemic had made it so impossible for us. We have not had any major party engagement. All these Zoom meetings are not really the kind of meeting that you can use for a party. Unfortunately, the whole 1 year, we have not had the chance to meet. Usually, Femi Adesina and co. Are part of the meeting of the party that we have not held the party. I am saying that the officials who are issuing statements are really not party member. And there should be a point where we should sit down together and they should reflect the policy trust of the party. It's not issue of a section versus a section. No, it is an issue of some individuals who are also part of the same government that I'm criticizing, that we should put a stop to the indiscriminate issue of statements that is doing damage to our government, the APC government.
All right, let's talk about this north and south divide over cattle. Quite shocking. I'll ask you this. Do you think that if northern governors had sat down and they reached a conclusion on something about cattle, do you think that would have been the reaction of the presidency? Because obviously a lot of people are saying that it's because southern governors came together, they reached a position on the ban of open grazing. That's why the presidency reacted that way. And in fact, Garba Shehu did reiterate yesterday by saying some people are just trying to start a fight. Who are those people? The southern governors?
I don't know what is it. I wish Garba Shehu understands the culture of we, for example, Yoruba land. All my life, I'm aware that every Yoruba town had what we call Sabo. In Lagos, for example, Yaba was like going to Sokoto from the island in those days. A Lagos Island person who crossed the bridge to Ido. So the Sabo was created for the Hausas who are living within Lagos. In every town in Nigeria, you had Sabo. Those causing havoc are not either the Hausa or the Fulani who have been living amongst us for years. For example, in my village, Owode, we produce cola. The Hausas and the Fulanis who are living in Owode speak perfect Egba that I cannot speak. Even the president himself told me that in his younger days, he used to come to Ifo to spend his holiday with his uncle. Those are not the people creating problem. If Garba Shehu takes the trouble to understudy the system in Yoruba land, he will know that we have been cohabiting and we have been keeping each other in each other's little area. But as I said, the situation in Nigeria now is going beyond the issue of herding and cattle grazing. You should understand that, as I insist, the ISWAP are infiltrating this country. When people are starting to carry AK-47, in my days, those who are herding cattle those days, all they had was a stick. So I am saying that the like of Garba Shehu needs to reflect seriously of the. And when you talk of protecting the interests of the North, it is not true. The northern governors resolved and accepted ranches long before the southern governor made their pronouncement. So where is the area of disagreement? I'm insisting that the ranching issue is acceptable nationally. And nobody, whether in government or in a party, should be making inflammatory statements that can create a greater problem. I, as a reporter, I'm worried because the Nigerian Civil War started by fake news on AFP that Northerners were killed in Port Harcourt, and that led to massacre of Igbos in the north, which the Igbos called pogrom then. And that was the beginning of the Civil War in Nigeria. I covered the war. The destruction that happened, I don't want to discuss it. So we have to be careful. A little statement can trigger a more dangerous development that we cannot handle.
Well, quickly, sir, we have just about 5 minutes to go. And I wanted to ask just two quick questions. The first is the view that has been expressed in certain quarters that all the things Nigerians are asking for about federalism, restructuring, that the easiest way out is to just go back to the 1963 Constitution. And then also your view on the idea of the Yoruba nation. Those Yorubas who are saying Yorubas are better off outside Nigeria in Oduduwa Republic.
Of course, I wish we can go back to the 1963 Constitution because at that time, we had the kind of Australian Constitution where the provinces were virtually independent of the federal. And at that time, the Western region had its own agent general in UK. The Sadana of Sokoto didn't bother about leaving the north to come to the center. And Azikiwe had to return to the east to become the premier of the eastern region. And each of the region developed at their own. It would have been more beautiful to go back to the 1963 Constitution, which was negotiated over and over with so many conferences before the independence for the 1960s. And we were Republican in 63. It was a development on what our forefathers negotiated before the independence when we had the 1960 Constitution. The 1963 Constitution was when we adopted Republican Constitution rather than being under the Queen. I will wish that we go back to that system where each of the regions, and I keep saying it, the North will regret, and I repeat it, some of the positions that some of them are taking now because oil has a terminal period now with solar, electrical cars, shale oil, and all kinds of modern development. But the minerals that are there in major part of the northern Nigeria will be the future of this country. And at that time, we will resist, if the way they are going, so in the south, we will resist derivation then. If they want to argue derivation, we will resist attempt for anybody to ask for derivation if they resist derivation. That is a thing that they must think about. Secondly, when you talk of Oduduwa Republic, I must say, we elders across the board agree that the frustration that the younger ones are facing is what is leading them to the extreme and asking that we should separate. young men come out from university and they now resort to doing menial job. We refuse to develop our technical education, which will give them practical work that they can do. Unemployment, insecurity is on all of us now. If I dare go out in the night, my family will be wondering, well, what am I doing outside? That was not the Nigeria that we grew up to know. We used to enjoy traveling at night from Lagos to Ilorin to Kano. Nobody would dare do that these days. So it's the frustration of the younger ones. And for those of us who are elders, you just have to be very careful. You must listen to the opinion of the younger ones and only try to persuade them to see the alternative so that we can reach a consensus that will not lead to civil war.
Well, thank you very much, sir. Well said. Thank you very much for joining us on the morning show.